You don't notice it at first. It's silent, it's invisible, and it's gradual. You wake up every day, you go about your routine, and you assume everything is fine. But what you do not realize is that the very choices you make each day are damaging your body in ways you cannot see. Especially when it comes to the most private part of yourself. It doesn't cry out in pain immediately. It doesn't warn you with loud alarms. Instead, the damage is quiet, subtle, and deceptive, and by the time you recognize it, often it is already too late. That is the silent damage. Think about the habits that are so easy to dismiss. Hours of sitting without moving, staring at a screen while circulation slows, while muscles weaken, while tension builds. You may not feel it now, but your body is recording every choice. Long stretches of inactivity tell the blood vessels to tighten, the nerves to dull, the energy to drain. The very strength of your manhood begins to fade not because of age, but because of neglect. And the most dangerous part is that it feels normal. You don't notice the slow erosion of vitality until you are forced to face it. Then there are the moments of indulgence, the unhealthy meals, the excess sugar, the heavy drinking, the late nights with no rest. Each of these seems harmless in the moment. You tell yourself just once won't matter, but each just once becomes a chain, and the chain wraps tighter around your body with every repetition. The arteries that should carry blood with force and life slowly begin to clog. The hormones that should surge with vitality are suppressed. Your body becomes weaker, your energy becomes dull, and what defines you as a man begins to collapse, not because of a single blow, but because of 1,000 small cuts you never felt. And let us not ignore the mind. The silent damage is not only physical, it is mental, emotional, and deeply tied to how you see yourself. When you allow stress to dominate your life, when you feed your mind with constant anxiety, comparison, and doubt, your body reacts. Stress hormones rise, blood vessels constrict, performance declines. You think it is just in your head, but your body feels everything. The strength of your mind and the strength of your body are inseparable. If you poison one, the other will collapse. There is also the silent damage of addiction to screens, to unhealthy desires, to habits that numb instead of energize. Hours wasted watching instead of living. Hours drained in artificial pleasure instead of cultivating true strength. The nervous system becomes desensitized. The brain rewires itself to seek stimulation without effort, and the result is weakness. Weakness in the body, weakness in the mind, weakness in the bedroom, weakness in life. The very essence of masculinity is stripped away because you have taught yourself to chase shortcuts instead of building discipline. I want you to feel the weight of this truth. Every careless choice matters. Every ignored habit adds up. You cannot cheat nature. You cannot trick your body into giving more than you have given it. If you disrespect it, it will fail you. The silent damage is dangerous because it convinces you that nothing is wrong. It convinces you that you can continue as you are and that things will somehow improve. But nature does not forgive ignorance. Your body does not wait for permission to decline. The damage accumulates in silence until one day it speaks through weakness, through shame, through regret. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself 10 years from now. If you continue with the same habits, the same neglect, the same careless choices, what will you see? Will you see strength, vitality, confidence, or will you see a man who has lost his energy, his desire, his pride? Because the truth is that the man you will become is already being created by the choices you make today. The silent damage does not wait. It is shaping you in every moment, and the most painful part. Most men never realize what is happening until it is too late. They believe decline is natural. They believe weakness is destiny. They believe performance is out of their control. But it is not destiny. It is the result of silent damage built over years of neglect. what you do in private, what you choose in small moments, what you allow yourself to ignore, that is what decides the strength of your future. The silent damage is like a thief that robs you while you sleep. You wake up thinking everything is fine, but little by little it has stolen your energy, your drive, your power, and you are left wondering why you feel empty, why your confidence is gone, why you no longer feel like the man you once were. It is not sudden, it is not dramatic, it is slow, quiet, and relentless. That is why it is so dangerous. If you truly value yourself, if you truly want to live with strength, you must wake up to this truth now. Do not wait until your body fails you to realize what you should have done years ago. Respect yourself enough to stop feeding the silent damage. Move your body, fuel it with strength, give it rest, train your mind, discipline your habits. Because every choice is either building you or destroying you. There is no neutral. The silent damage does not stop unless you stop it. This is why I speak to you directly, without comfort, without excuses. Because the truth is hard, but it will set you free. The silent damage is real, and if you do not confront it now, it will confront you when you are weakest, and by then no excuse will save you. The only question is whether you will open your eyes today or wait until regret becomes the loudest voice in your life. And when regret becomes the loudest voice, most men look for an escape. They search for something that will silence the pain quickly, something that promises results without effort. This is the trap of quick fixes. It appears when you feel the weight of the silent damage, when you finally notice weakness, when you sense the decline. Instead of facing the truth and rebuilding from within, you turn to shortcuts. A pill, a powder, a promise on a label. You convince yourself that this is the answer, that you can bypass years of neglect with a single act of consumption. But understand this clearly, there is no shortcut to strength. You cannot swallow discipline. You cannot inject vitality. You cannot buy masculinity in a bottle. These things may offer you a flicker of fire, but it is not your fire. It is borrowed, temporary, and false, and every time you rely on these fixes, you weaken yourself further because you are teaching your body to depend on what it does not create. It begins with the first time you try it. The result is fast, and so you believe it works. You do not ask at what cost. You do not ask what it does to your heart, your blood, your nervous system. You only see the surface, but beneath that surface, your body pays the price. Hormones shift unnaturally, blood pressure spikes, nerves dull over time, and slowly the root of your strength decays while you keep demanding more and more from outside sources. That is not strength. That is dependency disguised as power. The trap is also psychological. Once you taste the illusion of instant results, discipline feels unnecessary. Why train when a pill can perform? Why control your habits when something artificial can replace the effort? You lose the will to cultivate yourself because you no longer believe in your own ability. This is perhaps the greatest damage of all the erosion of belief in your own power, and it does not end with pills or chemicals. The trap of quick fixes extends to all corners of life. You look for faster pleasures, easier escapes, softer paths. You avoid discomfort, you avoid effort, and you start living in a world where you are constantly borrowing energy from the outside because you have no energy inside. The body becomes weaker, the mind becomes lazier, the spirit becomes smaller, and the worst part, you feel the decline, but you are too trapped in the cycle of quick fixes to break free. You must see this for what it is. Every time you chase the shortcut, you are feeding the same silent damage I spoke of before. You are covering the wound instead of healing it. You are hiding the cracks instead of rebuilding the foundation. And when the mask falls, when the effect wears off, you are left with even less than before. That is the true cost of quick fixes they steal from your future to give you a moment in the present. And once your future is stolen piece by piece, the weakness becomes visible in the very system that keeps you alive, your circulation. Without strong blood flow, nothing in your body can thrive. It is the river that carries oxygen, energy, vitality. And yet, most men neglect it, not realizing that every choice affecting their circulation is directly affecting their strength, their performance, their manhood itself. You can take all the quick fixes you want, but if your circulation is broken, no external trick can save you. Think about how often you sit still, hunched over, immobile for hours. Your blood slows, your muscles tighten, your vessels become less responsive. The body was never designed to be stagnant. It was built to move, to pump, to push life through every cell. When you deny it movement, you deny it life. This is why so many men lose energy, why their desire fades, why their confidence drops, because the very flow that should fuel them has been strangled by their own lifestyle. Food plays its part too. Heavy processed meals, fried oils, excess sugar, they thicken the blood, clog the vessels, and block the natural current of vitality. What should be a free flowing river becomes a sluggish swamp. And when circulation slows, everything connected to it suffers. The brain becomes foggy, the body becomes tired, and the organ that depends most on forceful blood flow begins to fail in silence. You wonder why you feel weaker, but the answer is simple. You have been starving your own circulation. Add to this the habits of smoking, excessive alcohol, and constant stress. Every cigarette constricts the vessels tighter, every drink numbs the system further, every anxious thought releases chemicals that narrow the flow. You may believe it is harmless in small amounts, but over time the damage compounds. The pathways that should deliver strength become blocked, and no amount of wishing can reverse it overnight. And there is a deeper truth hidden here. Circulation is not only physical, it mirrors the way energy moves in your life. If you allow stagnation in your body, you allow stagnation in your mind. If your blood is sluggish, your thoughts are sluggish. If your flow is blocked, your creativity, your passion, your drive are also blocked. You cannot separate the two. The man who ignores his circulation is the man who ignores his very ability to live fully. This is why I told you the silent damage begins unnoticed. Poor circulation is quiet. It doesn't scream until it is severe, but by then performance has dropped, energy has faded, and regret begins to rise. And if you try to solve it with quick fixes, you only make it worse. The only real solution is to respect the flow of life in your body. Move daily, breathe deeply, eat clean, strengthen the vessel that carries your power. Because without circulation, nothing else will stand. And when nothing else can stand, it leads us to the one truth that most men overlook entirely. There is a muscle that holds the key to your strength, yet it is forgotten. You train your arms, your chest, your legs, but you ignore the very foundation of your vitality, the pelvic floor. This is the core of your manhood, the seat of your stamina, the gatekeeper of your energy. And yet it is left weak, neglected, and unused because no one speaks of it, no one teaches it, and so men walk through life carrying a hidden weakness they never knew existed. This forgotten muscle is not visible, and that is why it is ignored. But just because it is unseen does not mean it is unimportant. In fact, it is more important than the muscles you proudly flex in the mirror. Without it, your circulation cannot be directed, your strength cannot be sustained, your performance cannot endure. Every surge of energy depends on this foundation. When it is weak, your control is weak. When it is strong, your power is strong. Consider how easily men will spend hours lifting weights to build biceps. yet never give a thought to the muscle that controls their deepest vitality. They will run miles to train their lungs, but never train the floor that holds the very core of their masculinity, and because of this neglect, they lose what matters most. They cannot last, they cannot command, they cannot hold. They crumble in the moments that demand the most strength, and they call it fate, they call it aging, they call it bad luck, when in truth, it is simply neglect of the forgotten muscle. This weakness shows itself not only in intimacy, but in life. The same loss of control, the same lack of endurance, the same inability to channel energy affects your confidence, your presence, your decisions. The man who cannot control his body cannot fully control his mind. And the man who has never trained his foundation will always feel unstable, even if his arms and chest are strong. True power begins at the root, and here lies the connection with everything we have spoken before. Silent damage weakens this muscle without warning. Quick fixes bypass it, making it even weaker. Poor circulation starves it of the blood it needs to grow, and because you never train it, you do not even notice that it is the missing piece. That is why it is forgotten. That is why men wake up one day and wonder why they no longer feel powerful, why they no longer feel alive. But you must understand, the forgotten muscle can be awakened. Just like any other part of your body, it responds to training, to focus, to discipline. The strength you thought was lost is not gone. It is hidden beneath years of neglect. And when you finally reclaim it, you will realize that true control, true stamina, and true power have been within you all along. And when you realize that the power has always been within you, the question becomes, how do you reclaim it? The path is not in shortcuts, it is not in denial, it is not in hoping that things will fix themselves. The path is in discipline, in conscious choices, in daily actions that restore what years of neglect have taken away. Reclaiming power is not a miracle, it is a process, and every step you take is proof that your strength is not gone, it is waiting to be awakened. The first step is movement. The body is designed to flow, to circulate, to expand. Every time you sit too long, you are telling your body to wither. Every time you move with purpose, you are telling it to grow stronger. Simple actions, walking, stretching, training, are not just exercise, they are signals to your body that you are ready to live. They restore circulation, they reawaken the forgotten muscle, they undo the silent damage. One step, one breath, one disciplined choice begins the rebuilding of your foundation. The second step is nourishment. What you feed yourself decides whether you are fueling strength or fueling decay. Heavy, processed foods clog your flow, while clean, natural foods set it free. Hydration, balanced meals, and nutrients are not luxuries, they are the materials with which your body repairs itself. If you build a house with rotten wood, it will collapse. If you build your body with poor fuel, it will break. But if you respect what you take in, you give yourself the tools to rebuild power from the inside. The third step is rest. Men often mistake rest for weakness, but true rest is recovery. It is when the body heals, when hormones rebalance, when energy is restored. Without rest, your efforts collapse under fatigue. With rest, every action you take compounds into strength. Power is not only built in the hours you train, but in the hours you allow your body to repair. Discipline is not just about effort, it is about knowing when to pause. The fourth step is mental mastery, because no matter how strong your body becomes, if your mind remains weak, you will fall. Stress, doubt, and distraction are poisons that destroy you just as surely as unhealthy food or stagnation. You must train your mind to focus, to breathe, to stay calm under pressure. When the mind is steady, the body follows. When the mind is scattered, the body falters. Reclaiming power means reclaiming your inner focus, your discipline, your belief in yourself. And finally, The path requires patience. Nothing changes in one day. Silent damage was not created overnight, and true strength will not return overnight. But every day you choose discipline over neglect. You step closer to power. Every day you strengthen circulation, awaken the forgotten muscle, reject quick fixes, and respect your body. You are reclaiming what was always yours. The path is not easy, but it is the only path that leads to lasting power.